Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Annie Acosta, and I'm the VP of Marketing at Kogniz. And today we have a brief and highly interactive webinar for you, and we'd like to show you how you can operationalize the vaccine mandate in 1 hour. We're really happy you've joined us today, but before I go ahead and introduce our speakers, I'd like to walk you through just a few housekeeping items. So throughout today's webinar, you're welcome to ask any questions using that Q&A box you see on the screen, and we'll get to as many of them as possible throughout the webinar, at the end of the webinar. And after the webinar tomorrow, you'll receive a recording of the webinar, and we'll also be following up with a special offer later this week. Let's jump right in, though. I'd like to go ahead and present our speakers, Barry, Deel, and Sara, Gioia. Barry is the Director of Enterprise Sales here at Kogniz, and he earned his Bachelor of Science in Occupational Safety and Health, and he's been consulting with companies for the past 20 years. Barry prides himself in really helping our clients solve business problems through emerging technologies, and he earned his Certified Safety Professional certification as well as his Professional and Human Resources designation. So he brings a lot of experience to the table today. And Sara is the manager of the customer success team at Kogniz, and she is responsible for helping clients to identify and also implement predictive safety solutions. She and her team have worked tirelessly to keep hundreds of thousands of our clients, employees, and contractors safe during the COVID pandemic and in other ways as well. And she's really excited to share some of that collective wisdom that she's caught on to with you today. Barry, would you like to go ahead and get started?
Sure, thank you, Annie. So Kogniz is a company that has been around for 5 years. We have a great solution for the vaccine mandate, and we're not a company that just began when the vaccine mandate was announced. We have been helping companies protect their employees and their assets for over 5 years. So our technology is constantly emerging, and we're very proud to present to you today our solution to help you manage the vaccine mandate. As many of you know, 2 weeks ago, the Biden administration announced a federal mandate for companies 100 and above. This would require that all employees are vaccinated or that those employees submit to weekly negative COVID tests. And Kogniz can help you manage this program. The administration said that they're going to use the Department of Labor and more specifically OSHA to enforce this program. So let's talk a little bit about 3 of the primary reasons OSHA would visit your workplace. Number 1, if a fatality or a major accident happens, an employer is required to report a fatality or a major incident within 8 hours of that occurring. Once that is reported, it will result in an OSHA visit where they will look for what caused the fatality and anything else they can find there during their visit. Number 2, it can be a random inspection. In the old days, they pulled names out of a hat. Now they can see a media article on a story that may have unsafe conditions at a facility, or they can see a company that's trying to skirt rules. But a random inspection can happen for a company where they're looking at anything safety and health related. Number 3 is an employee complaint. An employee can randomly complain to OSHA about unsafe work conditions. Now, pre-COVID, some of the primary ways employees would complain, or some of the primary things they would complain about included, my employer's having me wash windows on the 200th floor of this building and not providing fall protection, or making me work in this very noisy building and not providing hearing protection. But based on this federal mandate, we know that employees will complain if their employers that are 100 and above are not complying with the vaccine mandate. Employees these days want to go back to a safe workplace where they know that they are safe from occupational hazards and everything associated with having a lot of people in a facility. What other problems does this create for employers? First of all, employee churn. So for the last 17 years, I've coached 9 through 12-year-old Little League baseball. And one of the most challenging thing about coaching baseball is learning the players' names, because I learned the players' names the first practice, but then they don't wear the same thing to the second practice and they move all around. It's very challenging. They're always going different places. It's very challenging as a medium to large size employer to know which employees are there that day, which employees quit last week, who the new employees are. There's going to be a lot of issues, the challenges for companies to manage that employee churn and knowing who to keep records on, who's new, and how we can comply with the mandate. Secondly, there's going to be a lot of paperwork associated with complying with this mandate. You're going to need those that are tested positive to notify you of that weekly, and or if they've tested negative, to notify you of that weekly. You're also going to be required to have the paperwork on folks that have gotten the vaccine. That is going to require a lot of back and forth via email or whatever communication medium you use, and it's going to be very tedious, especially when you combine it with the employee churn. Thirdly, many companies have disparate systems. They communicate via email, they communicate via Slack. They don't have one clearinghouse, one repository for all of this information. It's going to be very difficult to keep those records. There's nothing similar to this that employers do when it comes to having to manage this program. Fourth, most companies now do not have a report that they can simply print out to show in the event of an OSHA visit how they're complying with the program, what the status is, the notifications they've sent out, and how well they're doing to comply with the program. That's going to require multiple systems, printing out multiple reports and cross-referencing. And then finally, they have no cohesive system of record. There's not one system for managing this entire program. Most employers that we speak to are struggling to know how to cobble together different reports from different systems, but Kogniz can provide that system of record for managing these laborious tasks. And here's how we do it. We can serve as your system of record for vaccine mandate management compliant with HIPAA and OSHA. Our system is going to allow you to extract data from your payroll or HR system, and it's a one-way API. So we're extracting employee change data, similar to how you would send to your benefits provider or your 401k provider. You provide them with an employee change report. Kogniz can tie into that and extract information and not put information into your payroll or HR system about vaccine status or about weekly testing. We have easy two-way communication with employees with automated reminders for weekly tests or vaccine proof. So what I hear from employers are, if someone's vaccinated or they have proof of the vaccine, that's pretty easy to get from them to put on a file electronically or physically. But part of this mandate allows for employees to say, I don't want to get vaccinated. I want to submit to the weekly tests. So they're wondering how they're going to notify those employees weekly, excuse me, and how they're going to get that information back. What if they go on vacation? What if they forget someone? What if they didn't know of someone? Our system is automated. You create the path that Sara will show you here in a minute, and the system will automatically notify employees and record their answers. It's easy for the employees. We want as little employee disruption for this program as possible. It's easy for them to automatically upload via their mobile device or their PC proof of their vaccine or proof of their weekly test. Kogniz becomes the repository for all of your documents. In Kogniz, you will be able to see information that is gathered weekly or that is historical from an employee perspective, you can sort that by location, you can sort it by department. It will provide what you need. Real-time dashboards will enable you to be able to show any stakeholders, whether it's VPs of HR, whether it's employee health and safety, you will be able to show at any point in time where we are as far as measuring who has been vaccinated and who is going the weekly testing route and how those responses are coming in. Those widgets are customizable so that you can measure the things that are important to you and your stakeholders. You have shareable on-demand reports for OSHA or anyone else who wants to see it. OSHA walks into your facility, you click a button, it's going to give out a to-the-minute report of your status of where you are in compliance with this program, and they will be very pleased to see that. And then finally, privacy concerns are very respected with this platform. You have the ability to give permissions to whomever you designate, and only those people will see those results. So you design, you come up with what permissions people can see, and whether it's the owner of that one facility or that one location or that department, you provide the levels of security based on their login to that information. So that's a high level how Kogniz helps. Fortunately, we've got Sara Gioia with us today. She's going to show you the how this program works and how it can help you be successful. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you, Barry. Good to be with all of you here today, and I'm excited to share with you what we believe are the 4 steps to put the vaccine management mandate into practice. So these are the 4 things that you're going to need to think about in order to effectively manage your employee vaccination and testing program. The first is simply to determine what you want to track. Is it important for you to know just who is vaccinated and who is either unvaccinated or has opted into the weekly tests? Or do you want more information like their test dates and their vaccine manufacturers? The test dates and vaccination manufacturers could be important if booster shots end up being recommended or mandated in the future, so that you are able to remind employees of their upcoming shots. Then once you've determined what you need to collect, then how are you going to collect it? Come up with that strategy. Is it going to be something where you're taking a paper process, or are you going to do something electronically? And if you're going to do it electronically, how are you going to make sure that it's linked back to the appropriate employee and that the information is secured so that other people don't have access to it, which is the 3rd step, making sure that only the people who need access to the records have access to the records so that employee privacy is respected. And then the last step is to act on the reports and the results. It's great to be able to collect all this information, but unless you can do something with it, it's just a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet or a bunch of data on a spreadsheet. So Kogniz helps you to take this data that you've received and turn it into action to keep your employees in your workplace safe. So now we're going to go through a quick demonstration of how Kogniz can help you do these things. And we'll start from the very beginning with determining what to track and then actually collecting the information. This morning, you should have received an email with a link to a survey, a vaccination demo survey from Kogniz. And hopefully you took the time to take that. But if you didn't take it, no problem. We have a copy of the survey available here. You can scan this QR code with your mobile device. And then once you scan the QR code, you're going to be able to put in an employee ID, which is the email address you used to register for this webinar. So you can go ahead and get that started if you would like to. This survey that I'm going to be showing you is a sample survey intended for demonstration purposes only. And it's just a simple example of what we can help you to build out, or what's already built on the platform, and then what you can, the changes and the things that you can collect. So now we're going to switch over to the actual demonstration, and I'll walk through the survey with you as well. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So imagine that your employees have, or you've begun this vaccination campaign, you have an automatic link to your payroll or HR system. So all your employee records or information is in the Kogniz database. Then with no additional action on your part, the system can send them an email like you got this morning that says, please submit your vaccination information. And then simultaneously, you can provide them with the QR codes around the building or on the intranet or in emails or however, so that people have plenty of opportunities to upload their vaccination information. And when they begin the survey, this is all configurable by you, very simply configurable. You can ask the questions that are important. So this is a really simple one. The employee just chooses to begin, and then the very quick and easy questions are, have you received at least one dose? If they say yes, they're going to go to another set of questions that gets a little bit more detailed. If they say no or prefer not to answer, then that's going to automatically move them into the weekly test queue. So then they'll start to be added to the weekly test reminder notifications. If I say yes, then I can choose which vaccination I received. I received the Pfizer vaccination. Then I have the opportunity to upload my vaccination record, which I can either do by dragging and dropping, which is what I'll do right now, or I could have clicked to upload. So now I have my vaccination record here. I can submit, and there we go. And that's the end of the survey. So now that data that the employee has submitted on their own time when it's convenient to them, that's going to feed in to the Kogniz system, and we're going to have a record of that vaccination. So I'm going to click into here, and now as an administrator, I can see that Sara Gioia, that's the employee, has submitted a COVID vaccination report. We have information about the date of that submission. We have information about the vaccination manufacturer, dates of the first and second dose, if that was important to you and you collected that information, the location where the vaccinations were received. And then really importantly, we're keeping a log over here on the right. This is a change log, which is really important for privacy and data integrity purposes, so that we know who has accessed this information and then what they did with it. So if, let's say that Sara came back to you and said that she took a booster dose last week, you can update that here, but it won't just be updated on the record, it'll also keep a log of that update so that we know who made what change at what time. So now we've collected the data, we've chosen what data we want to collect, we've collected it through the survey, and it's created a record here within the portal, and we can go in and we can see all the individual records of the employees who've completed their vaccination information. But looking on a one-by-one, at a one-to-one level is not particularly helpful for looking at trends or for designing future strategies and things like that. So let's look at our overall vaccination dashboard. Click home here. Now we can see this vaccination dashboard that's going to show you the vaccination statuses for the employees you're choosing to see. So in this case, we're looking at all of our different locations around the United States and Canada, and we're looking at where people have said that they are or are not vaccinated. So you can see on this map, we have higher concentrations in the Southern California area of vaccinations. We have some good concentrations up here and on the East Coast, and then maybe the middle of the country, like where I am, the vaccination rates for your company are a little bit lower. And this kind of map can be created to show whatever information is important to you. In this case, we're just showing people who have replied that they are in fact vaccinated, but we could have this show people who have tested negative this week or whatever else. Speaking of weekly tests, we also see our weekly test results up here. So we've gotten 3 positive tests, 18 negative tests, 19 tests that are still pending. We'll come back to that in just a second to talk a little bit more about how we can manage those pending tests and the test receipts. Then we can also see our vaccination status and the vaccine type if that was something that was important to you. So we can see the different statuses of that. And then let's say that OSHA shows up on your doorstep and asks, how are you making sure that everybody is vaccinated or is submitting to the weekly tests? So all we have to do is click on this, and we're going to get to drill in to more detailed information about the vaccination status. So in this case, 6 of our employees or individuals have been vaccinated, 2 of them have not, and 1 person declined to answer, and 13 we haven't heard from. And we can drill down more detailed to see who specifically those are as well, as we need to get to that information. So we're quickly and easily able to not only see the results, but then do something with them. Because now we have these people who have declined to answer or said no, that they aren't vaccinated. And that status will automatically enroll them in a weekly testing flow, in which they will, on one day of the week or multiple days of the week, they'll get an email with another survey link that asks them to upload their test. Then they'll click that link, and then it will give them the opportunity to submit their test results. They can say, when was my last test? I took my last test yesterday or today. And then I can upload my results here. And again, all of this is flowing into the dashboard and into the system. So we can always see who has or has not completed their tests. And then we can also, within the platform, automatically build in escalations. So let's say that somebody received the email on Wednesday morning, and by Thursday afternoon, they still haven't submitted their test. Then we can send them a text message to remind them. And then on Friday, we could send a report to their manager to each manager that shows the employees who haven't completed their weekly testing requirements for that week. So all of that is automated, doesn't require you to take any action manually on your part. And so that's really a summary of how Kogniz is able to help you in a very short period of time go from having no vaccination information to having a completely operational vaccine management program in a very short period of time, starting with identifying what you want to track, then moving to how you're going to collect that information, actually collecting it and securing it, and then ultimately how you're going to display and report on it. And with that, I will pass it back over to Mr. Barry Deel to talk a little bit more about Kogniz and what we can do.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you sharing that information. So if you remember at the beginning of my portion of the presentation, I said Kogniz has been around for 5 years, and the vaccine mandate has been around for about 2 weeks. The fact is, Kogniz does vaccine mandate management very well, and we do a lot of other things very well from a software technology perspective. Advance one, please. Kogniz, using our technology and our platform, can help with many different things. As a buyer of the Kogniz platform, even if you buy it for the vaccine management, you still have access to the other features of the software platform. We're primarily talking about the bottom left corner, health and Department of Health outbreaks, where you can communicate, mass communication 2 ways, customizable with open APIs into places that are going to notify your employees of that. But you can also use the Kogniz platform for communications about hazardous materials, chemical spills. We have clients that are using us for violence in the workplace. We're able to use computer vision along with artificial intelligence to come up with triggers that alert instant notification of employees, along with the 2-way part of the communication, which a lot of systems are lacking, so that they can communicate back to you that they are fine. We also have an open API into the National Weather Service, so you can instantly alert your folks in the event of an emergency. These are some of the incident workflows and computer vision AI that you'll have access to as a Kogniz client. And these are some of the types of companies that we're currently working with. From a security perspective, we can help out with the Kogniz platform with perimeter security, identifying weapons in the workplace, bad actors, and how to communicate when something like that happens. From a distribution and logistics perspective, we're working with companies to measure flow in and out of their campuses so that they can measure where the best parking spots are and they can monitor when people come and where they go. From a natural disaster standpoint, we talked about that, where you can send out alerts specifically to a location that might have a weather event happening and communicate to all your employees through a customized notification schedule that you come up with. So that is the Kogniz platform. For the last year and a half, we've been helping companies out with computer vision and artificial intelligence around COVID in the workplace when it comes to thermal scanning, but more importantly, contact tracing. We can help companies from a contact tracing perspective know who has come in contact with other folks. It doesn't have any GPS on it, but what it does is it lets you know who someone has come in close contact with, meaning closer than 6 feet, and the period of time that they've come in contact with those individuals. So in the event of a positive test, as the variants are going out and who knows what's next, in the event of a positive test, you don't have to shut down a whole department or a whole plant. You can just run a report and see those people that had close contact for more than a certain period of time with that infected individual. So all of those things are available to you as a Kogniz client. So we are working with multiple companies on multiple use cases and would love to work with you to help you manage this vaccine mandate along with the weekly testing. Let us know how we can help. Annie, back to you.
Hi, Barry. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much. You can see on your screen now that how you can reach out to us at kogniz.com contact. We have time for probably just one question, but we will get back to everybody who asked questions, but behind the scenes on the question areas. So feel free even now to ask a question. Be happy to follow up with you. I did see one question that a couple of people brought up, and I'll say, can we customize that process that Sara showed? It looks like they're interested in sending out the weekly test reminders to employees every day until they submit those test results. Sara, could you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Yes, the process is designed to be very customizable. We have a template for you to begin to use so that you can start working right away. But the information about how frequently you send it and what are the conditions under which it escalates is all going to be able to be determined by you very quickly and very easily without really any additional action. So as soon as somebody does take the action to submit their test results, then they can be removed from the daily reminder queue until 7 days have passed and it's time for them to submit their test results again. So yes, very configurable, very customizable in a simple way, so you can get started fast and make the changes that you need for your organization.
Great, thanks, Sara. So I'm going to thank everybody for attending today's brief webinar. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be following up with everybody who asked any questions, and also we'll be sending out the recording tomorrow, as well as a special offer to all of you later this week. So stay tuned. Thank you.